I would enhance my own arms into giant, bulky, muscular arms and suplex the hell out of that. Oh yeah. Okay.
She's gone. Hello, and welcome to OCHATO, the fortnightly podcast where we drink tea and review manga. This episode is our special recap episode, as it's the end of the year for us, and we'd like to look back on some great manga. This year, we read Hat Atelier first, which has some witches in a witch school dealing with some shady witchy business.
Kaguya-sama, Love is War, where Shirogane and Kaguya try to get each other to confess first. High school romance and all, and it makes us want to confess for them both.
I literally don't have the Google Drive open.
That's fine. I'll do it.
I'm opening it right now. So, okay, I've got it open. Is it the document where we have the recap episode structure?
Yes, exactly that one.
Berserk, where we've seen Guts with his huge sword slicing through some people, which makes me fall in love with him even more.
Princess Jellyfish, where what is that?
Sartorial.
Sartorial. Why? I'm reading this out loud. Princess Jellyfish, where sartorial expressions have led to finding your inner confidence. We've also learned to love jellyfish.
Oh God, this one is with all the Japanese. Bleach, where Ichigo has started dealing with shinigami and the Soul Society, and also has a big sword that he slices things with. We're very impressed and scared.
Oyasumi Pumpun, where we say goodnight and tinkle tinkle hoy to God and Pumpun and his friends and family, and hope that life gets better for him soon.
The Promised Neverland, where we see many kids escape from a human farm and learn how to do Bear Grylls survival.
Grand Blue Dreaming, where we had the chance to dive into uncharted waters and have cousinly romance.
It's just family affection.
Yeah. One Piece, where we see the lovable Luffy gather his crewmates to find One Piece. We want to see how far he can stretch.
Delicious in Dungeon, aka Dungeon Meshi, where dungeon monsters have been slain and then cooked into delicious food.
Purple Hyacinth, where Lauren is on the hunt for her lost memories and to pew pew away through bad people to get them back.
Who wrote this?
It was me. We also had Nana, where Nana and Nana have nanned to Nana their way through life, love, and friends.
I can tell you about this. The Girl from the Other Side, where we've been invited into Teacher and Shiva's home on the other side. There's also some burnt pie.
To Your Eternity, where we follow Fushi's adventures as he transforms into his friends, and shed quite a lot of tears watching the progression.
So sad.
And finally, Uzumaki, where we become a spiral in this cursed and creepy town and wonder why nobody is running for their lives.
We've seen some great manga this year, and so we've decided to give out some awards. But first, it's time for the answer to the most important question. What is everybody drinking?
I'll let you go first, Jane.
So Sue Ellen and Oliver decided to pick out my tea tonight, which is peppermint and licorice, courtesy of Ollie, because he sent me a fabulous 45-pack Pukka tea assortment, which I am very, very happy with, and I will sleep well with this tonight. This tastes delicious. Thank you so much, Ollie.
What about you, Sue Ellen? What have you got?
I am also drinking a Pukka brand tea with elderberry and I can't. Let me let Google some
Echinacea.
Oh, I hope that comes through on the recording. Echinacea.
Yeah,
Echinacea.
And echinacea. Also courtesy of Ollie. Thank you very much.
I'm here for you.
Yeah, it has a very delicious aftertaste.
I'm drinking the Bird and Blend Tea Company Spiced Clementine or Clementine. Thank you, Jade, for that. It's delicious. It smells great. It's also red, which is alarming.
So did you just have to put the tea leaves in and then pour hot water over it, or did you have to steep
Well,
it?
it comes with these like little bags and a spoon. I'm assuming you actually weren't meant to do the whole thing at once, but I am not a man of half measures, so I've got this teapot that I got last year for Christmas.
Ah.
A teapot for one. So just stuck it in there and then brewed it, and it's very intense. It smells incredible. It's
Oh, wow.
a heck of a cup of tea, I'll tell you that.
So does it actually smell like oranges?
It smells mostly like star anise, to be honest, and cloves. Yeah,
Mm.
think like spiced wine. It smells a lot like that. It's basically anise, star anise.
Ah,
It's nice. It's good.
nice.
I'm looking forward to hacking my way through all these teas. Most of my Christmas presents actually this year seem to have been caffeine related.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not complaining.
Perfect.
Yeah, I thought I'd get you guys caffeine free just for this podcast.
Perfect. Very good idea. All right.
Mm.
Should we move on to some awards?
Hell yeah.
So
Yeah.
each of these awards are personal to us, and they're just kind of our thoughts on it. And the first one, of course, is the Tea Award. The most common, the best, and the worst. The most common, actually, I guess we'd have to choose between us. I think it's probably Pucker Triple Mint.
Yeah.
I
be.
thought it was Pucker nighttime tea.
Oh, it might have been.
No, because we have mints a lot, and we all have it with us. So at one point or another.
Have we had an episode where all three of us are drinking that one tea?
No.
Probably.
Okay, well, I'm sure there'll be one coming up.
Yeah, I think two of us had the triple mint at one point, but not all three of us, because that would cause the world to explode.
Yeah.
It's not in this pack.
It's because they know you already own that one.
They know me too well. But yeah, okay, I'm gonna have to give the award to Pucker Triple Mint
That's
tea as well. Pucker Triple Mint tea it is.
Then what about best tea?
For me, lemon, ginger, and honey, the Pucker one.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
I reckon I'd agree with you, actually. I really like it, but I've just not had any like on me during a podcast. If I had to pick my best of this, of the ones I've drunk during these, I guess it would still be Pucker Triple Mint. There's a reason it's the most common.
Yeah, it's just the most refreshing one.
It's good.
So I agree with you, Ollie.
What's that?
Tea?
And then what about the worst tea that we've had?
Oh, I'd say chamomile.
Fight me. Come here and fight me. Okay.
What about you guys?
I think it would be the Puka nighttime. I'm sorry, Jay, because we're going to nominate for best. It's not like I hate it, but it just, like I mentioned before, it's just very strong, and the smell, it can be off-putting sometimes, but I sojo on and just down the whole thing.
For sure.
So my vote is that episode, Suellen, you came in with hot water. Unacceptable. Not even tea.
Wow.
And then carrying on the tea subject, the next award we've got is the character you'd most like to grab a tea with.
For me, it would be Nana Osaki, but I'd hope it was a date.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we'd both get spiced clementine, maybe.
It's intense. I'm drinking it now and it's getting progressively more intense.
How
Get
about
one between
you guys?
For me, it would probably be Senshi from Delicious in Dungeon. I know we'd make a tea out of like some obscure dungeon leaf that's half monster. He'd probably find like a monster that is a plant and then brew it into tea. The tea itself would be interesting enough. And then he seems like a pretty interesting guy anyway. So probably Senshi.
Yeah, he would be really good at like just thinking of the best way and the most delicious way to brew tea.
You know it would be a good cup of tea.
Yeah. So the way I approach all of these awards, well, not all of the the way I approach the character questions, the character awards, I just assume all of the characters we've encountered so far are my loose acquaintances. And out of all of them, I actually also picked a character from Delicious in Dungeon, and it would be Laos. Because in my opinion, he also has a lot of interesting things to say because he's just so passionate about monsters and killing them and eating them.
He was in my shortlist too for this.
Yeah, because like unlike the other party members who would just grimace at the idea of like even I don't know, meeting some seeing horrendous monsters in the dungeon, I think it would be quite interesting to know about it. You know, like I feel like I would happily let him gush on for hours about like different monsters.
And you know he would.
Yeah.
Definitely would. Come on.
Nice.
So yeah, that would be a great afternoon.
I like it. We then have the next related award, which is the character you'd least like to grab a tea with.
Oh man, for me it would be, I'm so sorry for this, Iori Kitahara from Grand Blue.
Good. Yeah.
We have nothing in common. I
That's
feel like
correct.
Yeah, I don't know what I'd talk to him about.
He'd probably turn up drunk, to be honest.
Oh my god. Fair enough.
Yeah, good answer. Good answer. How about you, Sulan?
So okay. To be honest, I was just going to put everyone from Grand Blue as like because like my reason is because you don't know when they're gonna slip alcohol in your drink. It's like I feel like I would have to by instinct to bring a lighter fluid with me just to make sure. I don't want to live with that anxiety, you know. Like
Just try and set your tea on fire at the start.
if not, I mean I'm cheating a little bit because I feel like it's a bit unfair to put everyone.
I mean, you haven't heard my answer yet, so.
Okay. But I guess also Guts from Berserk, because I feel like, you know, if he was my loose acquaintance, he'll just be a busy guy, you know. There's no time. It'd be hard to track him down. And even if he does agree to tea, I think we'll just sit in silence.
Fair.
Yeah.
Mine would be anyone from Uzumaki, because if I'm in that story, it's already too late. It's over.
Yeah.
So
You'd start to see like a spiral in your tea when you swirl the
oh no
thing.
My case in point. So the next award is best character, and you've got 20 seconds or a couple of sentences to justify your opinion. These are of characters of mangas that we've read, of course. Shall I go first for this one?
Yeah, go for it.
So for me, it's Miyuki Shirogane from Kaguya-sama. He's smart, but also so dumb sometimes. He's very grounded, and he's got really clear motivations for what he wants to do. So he makes sense when he does something, but he also still comes up with ways to surprise me. I think he's really well-rounded, works really well to push the plot forward, and I just think he's really interesting.
Yeah, I like him a lot. He's very... He knows what's going on, but he also doesn't know what's going on at the same time. I think for me, I think Luffy is the best character for me because he's just so funny doing whatever he does, and he's so unapologetically adorable in the most shonen way possible.
Good one. Yeah, I like it. I somehow knew you'd pick Luffy.
I mean, there's a reason why he's like the protagonist of a shonen manga.
Hell yeah.
Best character. Yeah, for me, she is also a protagonist of a shonen jump manga, Eva from The Promised Neverland. I just really admire her bravery and her unwavering drive to keep everyone safe, and never she outright refuses to sacrifice anyone, not even like the bad guys. Whereas, you know, to her almost like a foil where Norman is willing to sort of massacre the monsters, etc. And also her optimism in seemingly impossible situations. I just feel like it will be, you know, a kinder world if there are more people like her, just optimistic, almost to a fault. But at least she has some like people like Norman and Ray to ground her. But yeah, she's just a ray of sunshine.
Solid answers from both of you.
Yeah, I feel like she definitely has come up with some great strategies to escape. Like, I would not have thought of them if I was 11 years old. Like, she's really, really smart.
Yeah, I think it's because it's also because she just really doesn't want to give up on people. She always thinks, there has to be another way without hurting anyone. So she really pushes herself to think of.
She'd be the kind of person that like plays a visual novel and gets the true ending first time, because she's like, no compromise. We're doing the best ending. We're doing the best route. And she'd have that force of will to actually find the true ending. Well, actually, I won't say any more on that.
As a visual novel player.
Yeah. Moving swiftly onwards, we next have best hairstyle.
Ooh.
The answer will surprise you.
Will it? I have a feeling we might have all picked the same one, but who knows?
Will we though? Will we?
Maybe not. We'll see.
So I picked Marcel from Dungeon Meshi. Reasoning being, I'd want to wear it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Her hair is so beautiful. I saw it in the manga. They did like a step-by-step tutorial. Not tutorial, like illustration of how she
Yeah.
her hair. It was so cute.
Yeah, because of course, as a mage, I can't remember what she officially is in the manga. A lot of her magic comes from kind of her hair. I do believe something like that. So, which is why she takes such good care of it, among other reasons. And then why, of course, she had the thing about Senshi's beard and being so disgusted by it.
Yeah.
I picked the sentient hair from Uzumaki.
I was hoping one of you picked that.
Yeah, I mean, I was struggling with this. I was going through the manga we'd read, and I was like, yeah, these are all pretty good hairstyles. Wait, hang on, one of these. One of these is way better than the others. So, yeah, the sentient hair.
We love hair that sucks the life out of you.
And then you can get two people with this hair, and they'll have like a standoff. Pretty impressive.
Amazing. So for me, is Griffith from Berserk. I never really, if I weren't doing this category, I wouldn't give it a second thought. But upon sort of scrutinizing everyone's hairstyle, I realized his hair it's beautiful. It's long, it's white, which is very in trend with modern society, and out of context is very angelic. I feel like
he's a pretty guy.
Yeah, especially his hair. So I feel like his hair is top tier.
Sure, I agree with you.
The next one is a little harder to do in audio format. Prettiest panel. So this is the panel that you thought was the prettiest in any of the manga that we've read. I have two answers for this. One is that in manga that we've actually read, in chapters that we've read, which is in Purple Hyacinth at the start of chapter 27. There's a scene where Kieran has been talking about not wanting to kill anybody if he doesn't have to. And then Lauren gets basically into a lot of trouble on the rooftop. And Kieran just slices these people. And there's just some fantastic couple of frames, which I'm treating as one panel. Because it's a web novel, right? So you're scrolling a lot, but you can get both on the same screen at once, where they're both just covered in blood, and it's the depth of field is there. The art is gorgeous. So good. If we're talking not of the manga that we've read, but not in the chapters that we've read, page 140 of Hat Atelier, volume 6, has this just gorgeous frame, which spoke to me the most. It's the scene where Coco does the rain magic, and she's got rain coming around her, and then she's got an umbrella, and coming out of the umbrella is sunlight. I thought it was just such a exactly. Or my reaction exactly. And I thought that was one of the prettiest panels.
That's so nice.
I mean, I'm also cheating, but not cheating. I was glad too, because when I was thinking about this award, I was like, yeah, but there are some panels, they're not pretty, but I feel like it struck a chord with me. I thought it's just really artistic.
Yeah.
Symbolic. I think one of them, the first one, let's say it's pretty in my eyes, is that whole spread of a fire in The Promised Neverland, where the mother and Emma, thought that Ray has sacrificed himself and burned himself alive, and there was just a spread of like smoke and fire coming out of the classroom or the dining hall or whatever it was, and then just, I don't know, I just thought that looked morbidly beautiful. And also there's another sort of panel, I guess it's worth a mention, where it's like Norman is about to leave, and Emma is like on the ground, sort of crying because he's leaving, and he's like, I think he's like patting her head or stroking her head, but behind them it's like the mother putting the hat onto Norman, saying, "Oh, it's time to go, Norman." I just love that dynamic. There's just so much going on in that panel. It's so emotional. I think that's a strong contender. You're like, they're never gonna get out, or will they?
For sure. I think for me, the prettiest panel would be that panel of Aiko from Oyasumi Punpun, with her hair flowing as if she's running, and in that moment she looks so carefree, and like some rose have lifted.
Yeah, that manga had some gorgeous frames. In fact, many of the manga that we've read have had some really, really, really nice frames. I'd like to give a special mention to a particular page from Hat Atelier, but take a look at that, where they use the kind of paneling inside a page as stairs, and they have a character kind of walking from one side of the page to the other, using the panels as stairs. Just such nice use of it.
Oh wow, that looks incredible.
Yeah, it's just that little kind of, those kind of touches that made it kind of magical for me. And then I suppose kind of the big award from each of us, favorite manga of the season. Which manga did you enjoy the most out of the ones we've read?
I'm gonna treat this category, because I feel like if I'm gonna pick, I'll end up picking the ones I recommend, which I've read before the manga. So the way I sort of pick my manga is one manga that I've never encountered before starting this podcast. Yeah, and that I really enjoyed, which is Nana, because I felt that the manga sort of spoke to me a bit more, because it's about 20-something-year-olds trying to live like an independent life, and how they talks about how these characters deal with their lives ups and downs whilst developing a cute friendship between the nanas. And I thought that was really cute, and it's something that I want to keep reading. So that is personally my favorite from the season, and a strong runner-up will be Delicious in Dungeon. It's just the best, but obviously I didn't discover it from this podcast, so it's up there, but definitely Nana is the one that I found through this podcast, thanks to you guys.
Fantastic. How about you, Jade?
Yeah, for me, it would have to be Kaguya-sama. It's made me laugh so much. And even from watching the anime, it's so funny. And, this world has been, this year has been quite shit. And from reviewing this manga, from reading this manga, it's cheered me up so much. And every single time they try to confess, it's just made me laugh, because they just fail at it so badly, but in the most funniest and adorable way. And I love that they have this humorous element to trying to confess but messing it up, and thinking that someone else is going to confess but then really not, and maybe you have to be the one to confess. But the whole thing I just find it so funny, and it's really cheered me up this year. So I'd have to say Kaguya-sama for me.
Good to hear. It's been cheering me up during. I've been up to date on this one anyway, just because I had discovered it beforehand, and I've been really enjoying it throughout. But of the ones that we've covered in this podcast, and I've discovered, my favorite was Hat Atelier, which was, I believe, the first one we did actually, as your recommendation, Sue Ellen. Absolutely loved it. Flipping magical it was. I think I'd tried like chapter 1 before, didn't quite grab me, and then once I got past the little bit with the dragon in the town, it really picks up, and then it was just magical. Though a close second I've got to give to Delicious in Dungeon, both of which I've now bought physical copies of. Enjoyed them both so much.
I was curious, how many Delicious in Dungeon volumes do you have?
I've got 4 here, so that's right up to, I think, the end of where we read, actually.
Yeah. Amazing.
For our next section, we are going on to discussion, and the first thing we have up is your superhero team. So for this, you're going to pick 3 different characters from manga that we have been reading, and you'll try and make a team out of them. Jade, you're up first.
My superhero team would be Zoro from One Piece, Kurosaki Ichigo from Bleach, and the Spiral from Uzumaki.
Horrifying.
Yeah. Terrifying, right? Because like swords for 2 of them, and the third is like just a horror that you've never imagined before. It's like the thing that you just don't think about. So like 2 of them are like expected. Like, yeah, if you know sword fighting, then that's fine, because you can just like, you know, sword fight with them. But the third, how do you defeat a spiral? You don't know, right? So like that would be my 3 people, my superheroes.
I'm surprised you didn't pick Guts, because out of all the swords, he has the biggest.
He does have the biggest sword.
To be fair, I feel bad for him because he's been through so much. I don't want to put him through anything else. You know what I mean? Like, I want him to have a happy retirement with lots of food, lots of relaxing, baths, candles, music, the whole shebang.
He
just
deserves
relaxing. Exactly. Yeah. So yeah. Otherwise, I would have, but yeah.
Fair.
Sounds awesome. Yeah, my team. I think my team will die if up against yours, because the Spiral is just too OP. So I picked Kaguya from Love is War, because I feel like she would be a great mastermind. So she'll be behind the scenes, coordinating the team, and the rest of the team that she will be sort of managing would be Luffy from One Piece. I know he would be the least sort of he would be the most chaotic member, but I feel like Kaguya could sort of, with her cool collected mind, occasionally would sort of keep him grounded. And Luffy's Luffy, he's so versatile. He could jump high, he could stretch. I feel like he could take anything. And for my last member, it would be Gugu from To Your Eternity, because he can breathe fire. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk. I mean, he can breathe fire. I mean, what else could you want from a superhero?
Well, I may have the answer to that.
Wow.
So we do have some overlap as well, actually. I've got Kaguya on mine because she's the brains. I've got Coco from Witch Hat Atelier. She's the main character. She's got the magic and the kind of keeps them going in a good direction. Kaguya also has the Shinomiya group's power behind her. So she's rich too, which, as Batman showed us, is a superpower. And then I also picked Fushi, who is Gugu and many others. And he's immortal, and he's strong when he's a bear.
Yeah, definitely. Fushi is also OP.
Fushi's very strong.
But he does fit with a reason, does he not? He takes a bit convincing, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping Kaguya could do something smart, and then Coco could make sure that they're doing the right thing. Would be the plan, but we'll see.
I like it.
All right, let's move on to the next section. manga you would recommend to a non-manga reader, which you can take however you like.
Do you want to start first?
Sure. In my case, I went for The Girl from the Other Side. One, it's not got many of the manga tropes that I know some people find a little annoying, the kind of overreactions. I love them, but I know they're not for everybody. And The Girl from the Other Side doesn't really have that. It's a bit more realistic. I think the mystery is a really strong element to it, and it's got a strong start. So somebody coming into manga for the first time, I think, would certainly have a good time with it.
I like that. Yeah, I get what you mean about it's very accessible in a way, because it's quite simplistic, but that's the beauty of it, I feel.
Yep, I agree with you.
Yeah, like the art especially. I think for me it would have to be Princess Jellyfish, because I feel like it has a lot of life lessons that people can take away from it, and it has the eccentricities that most manga would have, as well as the sentimental moments that make you go, oh. So I feel like it's just an all-rounder manga, if that makes sense. And I feel like there is always someone from the cast of characters that you would just instantly click with, that you would just connect with. And that's why I chose Princess Jellyfish.
Good one.
Yeah, for me, I picked Love is War because I feel like because it's a comedy, it's also quite accessible to the general public, because it's something, there's a plot, but it's also, you could just read it for the surface level comedy, and we had a lot of laughs on this podcast talking about it and reading it. So I feel like anyone, even if sort of manga is not usually their thing, they can appreciate a funny comics. So, and then if they do decide to dive into it, there's a lot more to it than just comedy, right? There's character development. There's a whole cast of characters with interesting personality for them to relate to, or and it's just a very interesting premise, right? You can take something so not simple as like having a crush on someone, to like 4D chess.
Yeah, it's also quite a good one in that it breaks many of the tropes that you might expect, and many of the bad tropes that a lot of romance manga have. I won't spoil anything in particular, but there's a lot of times where they'll like lampshade something coming up, and then either subvert it or excuse me, choking on marzipan, or just do something different and something clever. And that was what kept me reading it. The comedy kind of brought me in, and then the plot and the kind of complexity of it was what kept me there. They have this beautiful transition from the initial kind of chapter by chapter differences to an overarching plot, which so many stories, not just limited to manga, struggle with. And I think they really nailed it in Kaguya.
Yeah.
Then, kind of related, which manga do you think about the most? This is obviously a little biased because we've been reading these over time. So, Uzumaki we read most recently, which might therefore have not had a chance for you to think about it that much yet.
I've put down Hat Atelier only because I've been putting it on hold for a while, but I keep it's like one of the mangas on the list that I'm like, I have to go back to. Like, I keep telling myself and not finding time to, because where I am at the story, you start to realize that this story is more to it than just its cute exterior. There's a lot of dark things that's been hinted at ever since the beginning, and I just really want to know what's up. What is lurking behind the curtain. So I just can't wait to dive back into it. So it's not like it's kept me up at night thinking about the dark messages of using magic, but it's just I just really want to know what happens next. Yes,
so do I. Come on, draw faster, Kamame Shirahama.
But beautiful art takes time, Ollie.
Yeah, it does. It does. No, I'm happy waiting.
It's so beautiful. But yeah, I didn't
Okay.
know how to start with this, but that's my answer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Mm.
How about you, Jade?
I think for me, it would have to be a tie between Oisumi Pumpun and Berserk because I like dark mangas and they are both dark in different ways. And I often think about the messages behind them as well. For example, Oisumi Pumpun, what do things mean? What do people's deaths mean? What does the presence of God mean? And in Berserk, what does it mean for Guts to be alone mostly? And what does it mean for him to encounter all these, people and his relationships? So I think that's what really takes me into, wow, this is just, I can't stop thinking about this because it really is a lot of thinking for me, I think. So yeah, I would have to say Oisumi Pumpun and Berserk.
Interestingly, I had the exact same answer. Yeah,
Ah,
so Berserk for me nailed that kind of, at least especially in the first few chapters, it nailed the kind of mystery and that feeling of isolation that Guts has during, and I thought it did a really good job of portraying that, but still keeping the plot moving. And Oyasumi Pumpun, I basically read after our episode. I think I read the entire rest of the series in like one sitting. And it's the kind of manga that I'll be like sitting at home, like drinking tea as per usual, doing nothing in particular, and it would just come to mind, and I'm like, it was good. I did enjoy them both. I wish Berserk was actually finished so that I could binge read the rest of it, or however many 100 chapters there are left, like I did with Oyasumi. But I need to know that there are answers before I carry on. And maybe that's what keeps me thinking, is that we don't have answers to all of these questions in either of the mangas.
For sure. And if you end up watching the Berserk anime, I think you'd like the soundtrack a lot.
I've heard good stuff about the soundtrack and very bad stuff about the animation. Speaking of reading more, I'm curious as to which manga you either finished or read a lot more of the ones that we've read.
Yeah, I mean, if we were to go down the list, I definitely read more Uzumaki than intended, although by accident. I read like 2 more chapters more, and Junji Ito just keeps on giving, the weirdness never stops. We're on the train of Creepy Town, and I don't.
You can't leave. You can't get off.
It's like one of those things you can't stop, and I hope to finish it soon, although not at night. I'll aim to read this in the morning because I don't want to have certain flashbacks, as I'm going to the toilet or something, because
yeah.
yeah,
not the kind of thing you want to read near night.
No. Yeah, and definitely I guess of the mangas that I recommended, I finished The Promised Neverland. Loved that. Would want more from the anime, hopefully, because it's coming out with season 2, and they're already changing a lot of details, so looking forward to watching that. I think, and also Nana, I think I already mentioned this, but I want to read. Hopefully I'll find more time to read more of it. I already have the volume after the ones we've bought, just waiting.
Nana's another one I'm going to need to be finished before I can read significantly more.
That
yeah, I'm aware. I know it's never going to finish.
It's so sad, isn't it?
I'm sure they'll finish it eventually, but
Sure.
we'll see.
That's my answer.
How about you, Jade?
Yeah, for me, like definitely I had a lot of time constraints this year, but I think I managed to read a bit more of Kaguya-sama. I was really excited when I was waiting for Kaguya season 2 and
Shout out to
Kaguya
Kaguya.
season 3.
The anime is
Kaguya.
fantastic.
And like it's so genius how like in the opening they have like weapons and stuff to signify that it is like
Love is
sort of
war.
Exactly, playing into the title and the whole premise of this series.
Yeah,
But
I
I
like it.
know that in future we will come back to some of these series and review them again. What about you, Oliver?
Oh, I made a list actually because there were quite a few. I got really into most of the ones we read. So I'm up to date, as in I've read everything that's currently out on Witch Hat Atelier, Kaguya, Grand Blue Dreaming, Delicious in Dungeon, Purple Hyacinth, Into Your Eternity. And then I've also finished, of the ones that are finished, Bleach, Oyasumi Pon and The Promised Neverland. I also read more Berserk up to about chapter 94, which is quite a bit later on. Enjoyed it very much, actually.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of what I like to think of the end of Act 1 is around chapter 94.
Were you
Mhm.
were you satisfied?
I was actually satisfied enough that I made the decision to wait until it's basically finished before reading much more, because it's like I was saying earlier, it's the kind of one that the mysteries are what keeps it really interesting, and I would find it really frustrating having these mysteries not answered at all and no kind of or not even a resolution to the plot, right, because it's still ongoing. So once it's finished, I'll buy it, I'll read it all, then we're good. For now, I've only read up to 94, but enjoyed it every bit of the way. I did, yeah. There were some others, I guess. So of these, the ones that I'd been reading before, so like Bleach, Bleach, Grand Blue, Purple Hyacinth. I'd all been reading before the podcast anyway, so it wasn't any more effort to get up to date. But I did really enjoy all of them. And then we have another section, which is it's an elevator pitch or a lift pitch, depending on where you are. Though I think elevator pitch does sound better. So you're going to pick 3 manga series, and you'll mash them up to pitch the best manga idea you could think of. You can have one idea per genre or multiple ideas. It's pretty loose. Just basically mash up 3 mangas in some sort and see what you come out with. So my mashup is Delicious in Dungeon, Witch Hat Atelier, and Oyasumi Pon. And it's a story about finding happiness through cooking, exploration, and magic. So what happens is Pon gets isekai'd into the world of Delicious in Dungeon, but they're with the cast of Witch Hat Atelier, and they're all like, you know, the girls and the guys and whatnot, and they provide the force of good to help Pon realize how it feels making others happy via the medium of food. They still meet Senshi near the start, who teaches them all of this, teaches them to cook, and then they can combine not only the food but also the girls kind of learning how to do magic, and combo that into new novel ways of cooking. I think it'd be great. It'd be heartwarming, and you get loads of good pictures of food.
Yeah, and Pum would learn how to cook.
Yeah, and he deserves a happy story.
Yeah,
that's
for sure.
Awesome. I love it.
He'd be there mostly for the character development and seeing him going from somebody that's kind of apathetic about life to really wanting to do what's best. And because he deserves it. The poor guy deserves a break.
Yeah.
I would love to read that. Do you have a name? Not that I came up with one, but on the spot.
On the spot. Oyasumi Sadness.
Oh, that's it. I love that.
Oh.
Perfect. Like good.
Or maybe Oyasumi Sadness, Konnichiwa, good food.
Delicious in Pum.
Oh my god, what if Pum is actually a bird and Senshi is just the whole time trying to figure out if he should cook him or not? He's like, this boy acts like a boy.
Yeah, you get Oyasumi doing the panels with the thoughts, and then there's Senshi in the background, like holding a knife, like, should I?
Yeah. Ollie, do you remember that one panel in Delicious in Dungeon where Marcille creates her own monsters, and it's birds.
Yeah.
And it looked exactly like Poo Poo.
Yeah.
But that's why Senshi is like, that looks familiar.
Yeah. Hang on a minute. So yeah, that's my elevator pitch.
Yeah, I will read that 100%. So wholesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you, Jade?
Okay. So for me, Nana and Nana open the door to their flat one day to find that instead of a hallway, it leads to the dungeon in Dungeon Meshi.
Man, that dungeon is so good.
It's so good, right? So they venture out and bump into Laios and the others, who eventually convince them that dungeon monsters are delicious and mostly safe to eat. So they reluctantly tag along because they don't want to die. And at the same time, Kurosaki Ichigo is trying to beat his personal record of going 16 dungeon levels down. And just as he is about to die to a spider plant, Nana, and Laios et al. Burst in and save him. And then they all carry on adventuring together.
That's a hell of a mashup.
Is that Bleach, Delicious in Dungeon, and Nana?
Yeah.
I think
Strong
we have a lot of we have a lot of overlaps here because I picked Nana, which had Atelier, and the girl from the other side.
Nice.
So this is more like loosely based on the three mangas. So I would imagine this is a world where, let's say our protagonists, Nana and Nana, living together out in the city, but they're witches.
I dig it.
In a magical world. Trying to navigate through life, doing magic and also interpersonal relationships. Try to navigate that. But one day, a little girl turns up out of nowhere on their doorsteps, and they find out that there's no one in their flat recognizes her or know where she came from. The police, they're doing their best to sort of put out feelers for any missing child. But meanwhile, for some reason, Nana and Nana, they seem capable of looking after the child totally. And amongst that, they realize that this child has magical powers, and without realizing, just keeps accidentally almost destroying the flat, or almost destroying the world. But she's a child, she doesn't know any better. She's too OP, might I add. So it's just Nana, whilst trying to look after this child, also but also deal with their keeping up with their own love life or family lives.
I like it a lot.
Yeah, me too.
You could have a good dynamic there too between the nanas, who are becoming a single entity in my mind, like trying to live their own life, and they're still kind of at the start of like their own lives, as it were, and actually having agency, versus being essentially a parent to a child that needs the parenting. I dig it a lot. Interesting. We have to vote for the best. I think they're all really good. I'd actually be most interested to read probably yours, Sue Ellen. I think the loose mashup would work really well there, and I'd like to see how Nana, plural, work as parents. Kind of, yeah.
I think I would be most interested to read yours, Ollie, because I want to see Pum Pum happy.
He needs it. He deserves it.
Yeah, for sure.
I'd wonder if they stop drawing him as a bird at some point, or if he'd stay as a bird for the whole thing.
Yeah.
Maybe when he stops being apathetic by near the end. Who knows?
That'd be so sad. Yeah, I really liked yours, Ollie, as well. And I love the title. I think that really, I was having trouble picking between you and Jade's, but I think the title sort of Yeah,
Good night,
actually,
sadness.
come up with a title.
All right, next up, if you took one manga character into one different manga, what would be the most interesting combination? So this is a section that you may know we do at the end of each one where we bring the previous mangas, but now all the limits are off. No holds are barred. I'm not sure if I'm using that correctly. You can pick any of the manga that we've read and any character from any of the manga we've read and pull one into the other. What do you get?
I want to see Luffy in Berserk. I want to see how he fights all these fucked up people, and I want him to be friends with Guts, who would probably reluctantly to let him tag along. And I want to know, I want to see how they fight together, because, you know, there's Guts with his humongous sword just slashing and, you know, doing all these cool power moves, and Luffy's just stretching like, hey, I can stretch over there. Like, hey.
They'd have quite good synergy, I think, and quite a good not rapport, banter between them would be good.
Yeah.
I dig
like
it.
that. Yeah, it's like idiots with grumpy idiot. No, happy idiot with grumpy idiot. Combined.
Fun combo.
Yeah, that's true.
Mine, I'd bring also into Berserk. Actually, I'd bring Fushi into Berserk. I thought Fushi being immortal and having this kind of this power that he does to like absorb people he knows would work really well in this kind of medieval world in Berserk, where lots of people are dying, but also where you've got these entities that are much stronger than your average person. And I don't know how well he'd work with Guts necessarily, but I think with the more eldritch, I guess, or the more supernatural entities in Berserk, he'd be a really good medium to explore them and to see if he can kind of keep his priorities straight throughout it all. Because of course he becomes kind of a better person by bumping into good people and by learning kind of emotions from them into your eternity. And I'd be interested if he'd do the same in the, I'd argue, less forgiving world of Berserk.
Yeah.
How about you, Cyril?
So I went for a more funny one. I want to see just, I guess, the main group of alcoholics from Grand Blue
I see it's going.
in Uzumaki.
In Uzumaki, of all the things you could put them in.
I just thought it would be hilarious. Well, okay, maybe it would not be as hilarious if horrible things are happening to them, but it would just be interesting to see how they were trying to deal with living in a town like this, whilst also, I don't know, I feel like just horror and comedy would mix quite well together.
Yeah, it would be like kind of an abstract comedy almost, wouldn't it?
Yeah, because it's like there will be anytime there's like creepy things happen, I would imagine. Sure, it's so creepy, but you pans to their faces where they're just like so overly exaggerated, and they'll be freaking out and like running away like the cowards that they are. Because come on, who would be brave enough to stand against the spirals? And I would imagine they would try to use alcohol to defeat them by, I don't know, setting the spiral on fire, or they try to leave the town. But do you know how this like comedy gag of like you running in one direction but you come back the other side?
Yeah.
Imagine where they just keep trying and getting more and more insane, but like a funny insane where like they just start throwing bottles this way and it just come back and hit them in the head or something.
Yeah, I think that would be a lot of fun.
Can you imagine like a dark comedy kind of thing where it's like, ha, dude, you're a spiral. Ah, dude, you're a spiral. Oh, wait.
Oh, man. Yeah, I just thought that would be hilarious. But also,
I like it.
Yeah.
I like it.
Then I guess our last kind of discussion point is which manga do you reckon we'd fare well or best in? Decide for each other.
So for Sue Ellen,
okay.
Which manga would she fare most well in?
This was quite a tough one, actually. You're a woman of many talents. I ended up picking Princess Jellyfish actually, because I know you've got the drawing skills,
Ooh.
and I reckon you'd mesh pretty well with the two main characters actually.
Oh, yeah.
One to kind of inspire, and the other for you to inspire.
Ooh.
So I think you'd do best in that.
Hell yeah. And I think she'd get along with the other witches as well.
The witches, the nuns.
Are they nuns?
I think it translates to the nunnery that they're in.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I thought you were talking about Witch Hat Atelier.
No.
Oh, sorry.
You get on very well in Witch Hat Atelier as well.
Ignore me. Yeah, so that was the point that I was gonna make. So I think you'd fare well in Witch Hat Atelier. So I want to see you wearing the outfits, and I know your hair would look really cute. And plus, I know you'd be great at handling sticky situations involving large dragons, and maybe you'd finally find out the truth behind Tifri.
I've got a
as
mental
well.
image of you suplexing a dragon now, Selin.
Yo, yes, that is the number one thing I would do. I would make my arms larger. I would enhance my own arms into giant, bulky, muscular arms and suplex the hell out of that. Oh yes, amazing. Jade, I think so. It's quite coincidental that you're drinking, because I just thought it would be hilarious if you were in Grand Blue Dreaming. Okay, here's the character, that arc that I would give you is that you would be that girl who's like the first one who's be like, yeah, let's go drinking, and then you'll be the first one who pass out, and throughout
Was that not uni? I'm sure that happened at uni.
and like every panel, so like the main stories for every chapter, you would just be in the background, pass out from different angles.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've got the mental image of you. They're like, you're like, when they're all like splayed out and they're like, yeah, let's go, and you've got the nice like 2-page spread of them all like charging off to have alcohol. You'd be at the front and you'd be the most enthusiastic, and then the next panel you'd be like just spread eagle face down.
Yeah. And like maybe like everyone woken up, you would be the last person to get up. And don't worry, you won't just be a side gag. You will there will be an arc where like the main characters will, because you're so sensitive to alcohol, they will use you as like a test for alcohol.
Like, is this water?
Yeah.
Sips down.
Yeah.
On the floor.
And there will be like a plot twist where like you will drink something where they were 100% sure was alcohol, you're fine, but then it just kicks in like an hour later at like a very crucial point in the story. You just fall flat in your like on your face. You're like, yeah, this is fine, this is not alcohol, like, and then 5 hours later and you're just fall flat.
I would watch that. I would read that.
I would so read that. Oh my god.
For you, Jade, I picked Delicious in Dungeon. I could see you being 150% down to try all the interesting foods and to cook them. I think you fit right in with the group.
Hell yeah, I want to learn from Senshi.
Senshi is the master.
Yeah.
Imagine if like he comes out with a cookbook, like.
Oh, I would buy it. Yeah, I approve of both of your ideas. For Ollie, I can see you in Kaguya. So I can see you trying to help them to confess to each other, but at the end of every day, just sitting in the student council room with your head in your hands, looking so dejected, like, because they both misunderstood you, like every single day of the school year.
This damn couple, why won't they listen?
Yeah.
Oh my God. You know what? Funnily enough, I picked the exact same manga. But hear me out. He's like this innocent character who always gets roped in to their shenanigans. So you would be like, you're friends with both Kaguya and Shirogane. where they would sort of use you as like a, I don't know, like their game piece in their like grand like scheme. I would just imagine though, I don't know, because I don't have 400 IQ, so I can't really make up a clever scenario, but I imagine it will just be you like drinking tea, but like it's in slow motion where the camera pans back and forth between the two, sort of thinking like, oh, he has to pick this tea because otherwise this won't happen. And, and it just you're just casually, you know, so cheery, just drinking tea, but then they're just like staring at you intensely, hoping things would go their way. But then, you know, you always come up as this recurring character, but at the end of the arc, it will be revealed you knew everything the whole time.
I knew it all.
You're 800 IQ. You were the puppet master trying to bring them together.
I was behind it all.
Yeah.
I kind of see you on the same level as Chica. Almost. Like you and Chica would just be looking at each other like, what are they doing?
I'll have to get the hang of her dance.
Oh yeah.
That music is so catchy.
Dangerously so. Okay. Thank you all for joining us in looking back at the manga we've read this year. It's been quite a year. Partly manga, partly because it's 2020, and there we are. But the manga has provided a beacon of light, as it shall next year. We've got quite the lineup for next year, which we'll get into later in the year, as some of it is subject to change depending on my whims, because everybody else seems to have planned out like months in advance. Good lord, and I still don't know what we're going to be reading on my first suggestion. So we'll see. So indeed, thank you for joining us this year, and please join us next year to start another great year of reading manga. Take care.
The next episode.
Woo!